I've got 1 hour, 8 minutes left on that SD card. We've got to get moving here in the bunker, boys. We got to get moving. Lots to talk about. Just 1 hour, 8 minutes left on this SD card. What's that? Why don't I just reformat the SD card before I start? Well, that's a good idea, actually. But there is a good reason I don't do that. I retain all my content on the SD cards as long as possible. It has saved my butt many times because I continue to have hard drive crashes. I have throughout the entire program. Yes, I back them up also, blah, blah, blah. That's why. So, yeah, hour, 8 minutes. That means hopefully 55 minutes for this very interesting topic, by the way. Yeah, and I'm going to intro with this. Remember, with this statement, remember this. You listening? Remember this. I'm your preparedness buddy. I'm your friend. I'm here to improve your preparedness systems. Okay, so don't get too pissed. Here we go. Your preparedness lighting system totally sucks. There you go. There's your introduction. Are you pissed yet? Now, perhaps some of you guys are going, wait a second. My preparedness lighting system, PLS? Oh, crap. I've got another acronym. Holy crap. That's amazing. Another acronym. That's just what we need in the project. Hard swallow. PLS. Yeah, my preparedness lighting system is good to go, nothing fancy. I've got no problems whatsoever. My response to that is, oh, really? Really? You know a funny thing about you and I, preparedness-minded people? I'm like this too. Trust me, I am like this. Is we think that we are more prepared than we really are. Because we spent some money on it 10 years ago. We think we're good to go. We check the box. We're good to go. We march on to the next thing that we need to prep up for, right? Now, if you're like me, you've had things happen in your life, in your neighborhoods, wherever you lived, to wake you up and show that your preparedness system, in whatever focus you want to have, right now it's lighting, ain't so good. Raise your hand if that has happened to you. My hand is raised. It's totally happened to me. I've talked about it in other systems video, and that's what this is. This is a systems video. You guys know that, right? Systems video. Yeah, I think you and I think we are more prepped up for lighting than we really are. Now, a couple things I want to say before I get going here into the specifics. And again, I've got to march along here. One is we're not really talking about rule of law lighting, okay? For instance, you clip a flashlight to your pocket. Here's an old school S20 replaced by the S2. Yeah, this is S20. I change them so often I can't keep track. Anyways, you clip one of these to your pocket. You use it. It's your EDC light. Hopefully you have this with you at all times. You probably have a bunch in your other systems, your rule of law systems, maybe your carry bag, maybe your nightstand, your vehicles, your motorcycle, whatever. I think most of you guys are actually good to go in that sense. What we are going to focus on is without rule of law, the end of the world as we know it, economic collapse, whatever you want to call it, basically this. You have no electricity coming out of your plugs at home. The electrical grid, for whatever reason, is no more. Okay, you don't have that anymore. You're just like, oh, yeah, crap. How are you in that respect? Again, you may think you're pretty good, but I'm going to say some things as we go along here in the bunker, and I want you to take inventory. Actually, you could do that right now. You could stop the video, just pause it right now, and go look at your emergency lighting system and see if your batteries are charged, you have fuel, you have redundancy. Those are some good concepts to keep in mind. Redundancy is a key one. You don't just want one way to have lighting. You want multiple ways. Go ahead. I'll wait. Check it. You might find that your system ain't so good. You're like, oh, crap, he's right. This isn't working anymore. And I'm going to show you an example of that, maybe a couple examples in my own system. And you're like going, man, I need to revise things, right? Now, that's the first thing. So we're talking about without rule of law lighting here in the bunker. The second thing I want to say before we get going here is, why do you need lighting in an emergency or in long-term without rule of law? You may listen to that question and think it's stupid. Like, well, you always need lighting. But let me break it down to you. And this will help you explain your preparedness efforts to people who are not preparedness minded. Okay, and you may have never thought of this before. I think I have said it maybe sprinkled throughout the years, but not very clearly. I'm going to break it down here in the bunker on your preparedness lighting system totally sucks. I might shorten the title down to your lighting system sucks. That would be better. The answer is this. You want, in economic collapse and electrical grid collapse, to normalize your life as much as possible. That's the answer. It's pretty simple. You want to live as normally as you possibly can through your own preparations, even though you may not have medical services, electrical services, food services. In this situation, we're going to really focus on electricity. That's really the answer. Everything you're doing, what you're trying to do is just live like you are today, that you're just going, I just want to be comfortable. I want to be fed. I don't want to be in pain. I want to have the ability to read things. By the way, here's my very detailed notes for this video. Hard swallow. There's like nothing. I'm just winging it. Just winging it. That's the answer, though. We want to live as comfortably and as normally as possible. Really, that's the whole purpose for your guns, too, right? Which, by the way, in the background, we have an MG42, M249, VR60, PSAC 47, GF3. And boys, this is the awesome, still in inventory, SIG 522. Still excellent, really excellent, semi-automatic 22. Fun rifle, that's basically all it is. But you have your guns to protect yourself, to stop bad things happening to your family, to your friends, to your neighborhood. And it's all focused on trying to have a normal existence. That's what all this preparation for lighting is about. Why do you need to have lighting? Well, because in your day-to-day life you have lighting, right? You turn on a switch and you don't even think twice about it. You know, you have lighting everywhere you go. You go into the kitchen, lighting, bathroom, lighting, garage, lighting. Have you ever lived when you do not have access to that? I have. I'll tell you what, it's a wake-up call, boys. And that's when you're going to find holes in your inventory, your preparations, as I did. And I have talked about it throughout the years, like the BOK videos went through a lot of that philosophy. The average person uses 900 kilowatt hours each month, 30 kilowatt hours per day. A dishwasher uses 1,500 watts, fridge 400 watts, this is ballpark, microwave, we'll say 900 to 1,800 watts, oven 2,150 watts, blah, blah, blah. I could go down all the electrical requirements of your household. I didn't even really get to lighting, which is going to be lower wattage, but the point remains is that we have a lot of wattage at our disposal. What happens when that wattage goes bye-bye? Is your system ready? I'm saying it probably sucks. Again, you might be typing away furiously, proving to the world that your system is awesome. And by the way, I want to acknowledge that some TMPers are good. Their system right now, before I even make this video, is legitimately excellent. I give you that. I think most of us, probably not. We need some improvement. How do we have lighting in a long-term emergency situation where we do not have a functioning power grid? Number one, getting into the specifics, candles. Old school is still good school in a lot of ways. What could happen, what will happen, I will tell you, in the loss of electrical power throughout your city, and I'm talking not just for a night, not for 72 hours, but long term. Let's just say for 30 days. For 30 days, you have no electricity, and let's say it's a dead of winter. People are going to go back to old school, and I would think in a lot of households, even those that are not preparedness minded, they do have candles. Candles will work, right? They will work. They have worked for our forefathers for many years. But what we're going to get used to, as I was going to say, is a lower level of lighting, the dim way of lighting, okay? So right now I have LED studio lights going on. They're very bright. I can adjust the tone on them. Strangely enough, no matter what I do to adjust the tone, I still look like a corpse on the camera, but we go on with the show. We just go on with the show. Candles, okay? Raise your hand if you have candles in your lighting system. If your hand is not, oh, by the way, I got to raise my hand. If you do not, you are behind the power curve. You should have candles. They are inexpensive. They store forever. They are effective. You probably need way more than you think you do. You need cases of candles. A good way to hold them, holders. You might think of a candle lantern, for instance. Okay, and I have talked about these in some other preparedness videos. I think Be Okay, I covered them. This is a candle lantern. And by the way, I'm going to have a lot of links below. Okay, if you need to add these things to your system, please do. Use my links because just like you, when you go to work, I like getting paid for my work too. Thank you for your support. Yep, and thank you, by the way, to the sponsor to this video, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Thank you, Kellogg's. That's awesome. No, it's not Kellogg's. It's donors like you. Thanks to the Patreon dudes. They're the ones that keep me going. Consider being a Patreon guy for the rest of your life. Thank you. Okay, so candle lanterns. This is just one way to have candle level of lighting. You need to have candles that fit this. This is a proven system. I've used this one many times. It works great. This one is approximately 30 years old, right? I have an extra globe in case the first one breaks, extra things. There's other survival candles. Here's coming out of my current system, 120-hour candle, movable wicks, reusable, light, heat, and cook. So survival candles. These will liquefy. They have placeable wicks in them, and they last, well, a long time. Better than a standard candle. You should probably have a ton of these. You might even have liquid candles. They're called survival candles. I have them in my system. I did not dig them out because I don't have room. Basically, it's just a plastic candle with a wick that you can pull up, and it has a liquid fuel to it. And they're pretty inexpensive for what they are. Some will call them hurricane candles. Those are awesome too. I think a standard candle is probably a little bit better. And then you might have some homesteaders that say, hey, not only do we have our own candles, but we have the means to make candles if things go south. And I applaud you for that. But I think most of us in the modern world probably don't have on hand like wax, paraffin, wicks, everything to make candles. I think since they are so inexpensive to store them up. Candles. Candles is the first way you can have emergency long-term lighting. Let me tell you this. I want to interject this right now. This is an important concept. Durability. Durability and storage. What you want in all these emergency lighting things that I'm talking about is the ability for that item to stay stored up for 20, 30, 40 years, and then you go to it, and what do you know? It is ready to go. It's functioning. Candles pass the test well with that. Candles. And there's some other technologies that we're going to get into, but I'm talking about traditional wax or liquid candles. Next up, old school lanterns. Not new school, old school. Here's my Dietz hurricane lantern. I use it as a decoration in the house, but this is a kerosene lantern and it is completely outstanding. It will last 20, 30, 40 years, assuming that I don't bust the globe. I've had this one for about 25 years, and it just runs on kerosene or any other diesel-type fuel. You might experiment with that. The downside is it will, with some fuels, produce a lot of black smoke. Be aware, it also, will have a carbon monoxide in an enclosed space. So that's a disadvantage. You want to have, some airflow going wherever you're burning this. But it has an adjustable wick, right? I have extra wicks for it. I have probably 8 of these old school Dietz lanterns. They come in different sizes, and sure enough, there's other brands that do it as well. But this is one of the original, I don't know if they call this a hurricane lantern or what, lantern. And it's old school and it works great. And it's simple. See, a wick is easily stored up. Here's my extra wicks. Right? Store those up as well. easy, puts out a lot more light than a candle. It's adjustable. And again, it passes a durability test, the long-term durability, which we want for our lighting system. Okay? Could you survive with just that? Let's say you just have candles and old school lanterns. And I just showed you one. Let me throw, I don't have it on the table or in the bunker with me. We might throw in old school lanterns, Coleman lanterns that are powered by the mantle. And I do have, well, a backpacking version for you. This is a Sunto backpacking lantern. This isn't really an old school because this is a cartridge lantern, okay? And this is what it looks like. And it's going to use a propane canister, okay? But it's basically an old school lantern. It uses the same technology. You're just going to have a mantle that you turn to ash. Basically, you pre-burn it, and then it burns very brightly. These suckers put out a ton of light. A ton of light. But this is kind of a newer technology, but pretend it's a Coleman lantern. You might throw that in the category of old school lanterns. I'm okay if you do. And if you have that, and you have that Coleman white gasoline stored up, which, by the way, stores forever and ever and ever. I have Coleman gasoline that's like 30 years old. I've used it, and it fires right up. No problem. And that sucker puts out light. All these lanterns put out a ton of light, the ones I just showed you. Okay, so could we live and be relatively comfortable with that level of lighting? What do you think? The answer is, of course we could. Our ancestor did it. Sorry, I screwed that up. Our ancestors did it. Yeah, we could. But what was one of the caveats I threw down at the beginning of this preparedness systems video? Right, we want to live life the way we have been living it. We want to make it as normal as possible. And you and I, we live in a modern era. We're used to this bright light. So if we can go back to that with the technology available for us today, let's do that. Time check. How am I doing? Not too bad. Not too bad. We're moving right along here. Lanterns old school. Next one is, with new technology, solar lights. Solar lights. Lights that have a built-in solar panel that power that light. Okay. Let me add in there also, not just a built-in solar panel, but a hand crank. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple. So let me show you this so-called DuraPro. I purchased this about, 6 years ago. And I have, how many do I have these? Like 8 of them. It's been in storage for a long time. And I think at one time I did a video, showed you these, and I did mention the fact that, well, you probably need to crank it up and charge a battery every month. Guess what I have not been doing? Right, doing that, because I got better things to do than look for all my survival lights and do this. Homie ain't doing that. Okay, it's just got to last. So I took this out of the bin last night. I was like, well, this thing should be good to go, right? It's 8 years old. Battery should still be good. Wound it, press the button, nada, nothing. It is gone. So it has a crap battery that is not durable. It fails the most important test, and that is durability in storage. So this is going into the garbage right now, and I will throw away every single one of those that I have. Garbage. Next up, and this was kind of surprising, really. Where did I put it? Really kind of surprising in a good way. I bought these. These are solar-powered flashlights, and I was wise enough to store them in a window. So every day, they're getting a full dose of sun, at least when it's sunny. I took this out of storage, out of that windowsill, and they have been sitting there for 6 years without being used. I turned it on. Durable. Good to go. I push it again, it goes to low mode. Look at that, dude. Passing the test. Built-in solar panel. Simple, dimple. I'll put a link to these below if they still make this one. A lot of these technologies are just going to be superseded. The businesses are going to go out of business. I'll show you one that has done just that. Viable way to have lighting? Yes. Apparently. What'd I say, like 6, 7 years they've been in the windowsill? Still doing great. Now, this is not high level of lighting. Nothing like your O-light. But in a completely dark environment, it will be more than adequate, and it will probably be better than that candle. Solar lights. Now, there's a bunch of other lights that have solar panels in them. And yes, I do have experience with them. Let me interject this. Okay, we're in without rule of law. There's no electrical grid. There's a lot of darkness over your town. We might want to be careful about perimeter lighting. Now, it really is situationally dependent. And what I'm talking about is, in that movie with Charlton Heston, the Omega Man, he had that perimeter lighting for the zombies because, well, they didn't like lights. But in our situation, lights could attract bad guys. It could attract predators. So if you think, well, I'm going to light up or even have motion lighting that's solar powered come up to scare people away, it may attract people. So you need to determine with your situation, do I need perimeter lighting as a security deterrent? The situation may be yes, the situation may be no. What I do recommend is you have such lights ready to go. Man, I did review a lighting product. It was years ago, probably 8 years ago now, Mr. Beams. It was 4D batteries. It was motion powered, and we had a philosophical discussion in that video. They still make such lights, but I have found even better lights along those lines, and I'm going to show you one right here. We're talking about solar powered or solar lights, I guess. And I'm kind of jumping ahead. LED lanterns, area lights is kind of where we are right now. Okay, so this is it right here. These things are pretty excellent. I've been using these for a number of years. They are area lights. They are pretty darn bright. I forget the exact level. It changes from time to time. But dang, son, I'm using them as work lights because they're so effective. Now, you're probably looking at this and go, okay, I see the motion detector, nothing fancy. That's all good. Where's the solar panel? Well, it plugs in right here. It comes separately. So your solar plug-in comes right here. It's a solar panel. You just plug it in. You string it remotely. It has like 30 feet of wire. These are really good. And guess what powers this light? You're never going to believe it. If you have these, you may know. The 18650. Did you know that has two 18650 batteries? The same battery that's powering your O-light of choice, probably. There's an O-light 18650. I got a wiggly mark on that because I'm monitoring this particular battery and make sure it's effective. It's been having some issues. It might be battery related. Those 18650s generally are really excellent power sources, and I've had really good luck with those solar powered lights. Now, the cool thing is it's marketed and sold as an area security light, but you could use this as a room light. Here's the deal. Are you listening? This does not have to be mounted and kept in the sun. Since you just have two 18650s here, you can charge them up however you want. You can have anything that fits into that charging port. Maybe it's a solar panel that came with it. It's a sunny day. You lay it out in the sun. You charge the batteries up. Then you can take this into your house, and you will have usable illumination from my own experience for about 5 days, at least. And I'm talking bright illumination. Now, granted, it's like on a 2-minute timer. You can see I blackened the markings there so you can read it. I recommend you do that too. They should have done that from the factory. You can't read the damn things without doing that. So you can change your time that it stays on. Does it have a constant on switch? I think some models do. It just depends on which model it is. But this is an outstanding way to provide emergency lighting. How does it pass a durability test? And I'm talking about like being stored up for 20 years, then you take it out and use it. In my experience, these 18650s have to be kept charged up. If you leave them for like year after year after year, it seems like they don't do so great. If you could take this out and charge it up, maybe every 3rd month, you'll be good to go. Or you just have them around your property and they're charging with the sun. Then if like the crap kicks off, you have charged area lights that you can put wherever you want. You just unclip them. See, that has a clip. So you just unclip them. They're not like bolted to your outside eave or anything. This is an outstanding way to provide emergency lighting And I think it's pretty cost effective. I buy these either in like 2 packs or 4 packs. Initially, it will be, it's not like cheap. They're not like $10 a piece. They're way more than that, but they're worth it. Solar lights. That is a technology that you can look into. I went right past this. Let me mention this. Maybe you're saying or have typed out, hey, nothing fancy. What about Siloom sticks? Light sticks. These fail in every way with what we're talking about. We're talking about long-term house lighting. So both interior, exterior. These are going to last basically super bright for 30 minutes. Some of them will be 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever the heck they are. This is just a temporary way to mark a path, to attract attention. For your day hike survival kit, for your BOK, they have a place. For long-term lighting, no thank you. No thank you. LED lanterns. Okay, I'm going to card, and when I say card, I'm going to put a link to a video I did, and it was on the B channel. Please subscribe to the B channel. A lot of you guys have not done that here in the Nothing Fancy Project. I'm not even asking you to be a donor by doing that. All you do is just go to the description below, and it's the Nothing Fancy Project, one word. Subscribe to there, because I post a lot of content over there. A lot of non-gun content goes over there. Knives, flashlights, motorcycle adventures, backpacking, hiking, wilderness videos. They go on the B channel. So watch that. If you're not subbed, you probably missed my review on such lights as these. Right here. Here's 1,000 lumen. I think, what brand is this? LG, whatever the heck it is. I covered a whole bunch of brands with this. Okay, and this is a really cool light, and it's a great way to provide area lighting. And now we're, again, looking at an LED technology right here, dudes. I'll put links to these below. They'll mimic the links I put in the original video. This one has different colors, different brightness levels, high burn time. High burn time. And in the video that I did on them, I'm showing you how they illuminate a haunted cabin out in the middle of nowhere. The ghosts even liked it. They were like, yeah, that's awesome. They loved it. And there are some other ones I covered at the time. This is a new in package Gold Zero 600 lumen lighthouse in my own system, ready to rock and roll. I also need to get out and charge this. Just like I said, anytime it has a battery, it likes to be charged up. Ideally every 3rd month. That might be too frequent. I would say at least every 6 months. I need to do that. And then you'll be happier with the performance. I'm not going to take this out. We don't have time. You can read the back. More importantly, go watch my video where I show you in field how this does. But it's representative of LED lantern technology, albeit these do not have built-in solar panels. Okay, we'll get to that. If you're typing that out, relax. This is just survival lighting, long term. Here's another one, the O lantern. This one is a max of 360. They keep improving these O lanterns. I'm amazed at how long they last though. I'm talking about just in reserve, like once you charge them up, they're ready to go. And also I'm amazed how long they burn. I've been using O lanterns for, well, a couple years now, and they are fantastic. Links below, buy with confidence. How do these pass the durability test? So let's say I have my LED lanterns charged up, and then let's say I don't charge them, and then I go to use them 2 years from when I last charged them. Are they going to fail me? I would say almost certainly yes. Okay, they have a battery. Now, some of the varieties that I reviewed, and I can't remember if this one is that way, it might be, they take 4D batteries. I actually like those versions of this type of lantern, because those batteries, even alkaline batteries, last a long time. Okay, and then if you have a way to charge reusable AA's, kind of like Inteloops, Sony Sanyo Inteloops, they have D adapters you can put in that lantern, albeit they won't have the capacity of a full-size D battery, but you can still run the lantern. But durability-wise, these are going to kind of go, they're not totally awesome. Okay, you need to take care of them. But if you have them charged up, they do provide a lot of light. How are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good. All right, so that's LED lanterns. I'm just going to leave this burning over here. We'll be A-okay with that. How about flashlights? This is where I know you guys are totally set, because I hear about it all the time. Every time I post a flashlight review, they're like, yeah, I got enough flashlights. I know you guys do, but I'm a flashaholic. Sorry, they're cool. Mostly Olight. I love Olight. They're cool. Again, I told you I would show you this, the Warrior, Mini Warrior. It's an awesome light. Awesome, awesome light. How does it pass a durability test? So let's say this light, we charge it up and then we put it into storage. 10 years later, we go back to use it. How much power do you think this battery is going to have, this 18650? Well, we kind of already talked about that, right? Not a lot. It'll just have a kiss of power and then it will be dead. It needs to be maintained or have a way to recharge it, but your electrical grid is kaput. It's bye-bye. It's no good. Can we use such a light in an long-term emergency situation? Can we use a super bright LED flashlight like this? My answer is yes, we can. Incidentally, you should probably look into getting better area lights into your sucky preparedness lighting system. Your PLS is this right here, the Olight Marauder Mini. Watch for its separate review here in TMP. No, they did not give me this. I purchased it with donation dollars from Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Yeah, thank you, Kellogg's. Yeah, and here's the light right here, dudes. And you talk about an excellent light. Oh my gosh, I just love this thing. Right here, dudes. Look at this. It's capable of a 7,000 lumen flood. Proven by me in concrete work, by the way. That's right, we use this light in concrete work. A great work light. Has multi-modes. I don't think it's too expensive. Here's what it looks like on the side. Is this a good long-term, without rule of law flashlight? My answer is, it depends. Okay, it depends. Now, how does this pass durability? We charge it up. We forget about it. Let's say 2 years later, we pull it out. We really, 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 really need its lighting capability with its, what battery is this? Yeah, 32650, huge battery. How much juice do you think we're going to get out of it if we have not maintained it to full charge? This is a bigger battery. You're probably going to be at a ballpark 50% capacity, so you'll get some lighting out of it even after 2 years, just sitting around doing nothing. But it's going to like being charged up and used. All of these will. So the answer is, durability-wise, not so great. Not so great. And then we go into what are we going to do to make them great? Okay, and this is really the crux of the video. A lot of this stuff I've talked about in other videos. Maybe I, brushed past it in the BOK or the DSK videos. How do we make this stuff better? Basically, how do we recharge it? What do you think? I'm hearing a lot of people say solar power. That's correct. We're going to get to that. But let's back up just a little bit. Before we go to solar power, how are you going to recharge this battery? Now, maybe some of you guys are typing out right now, I have a generator, either gas-powered, propane-powered, diesel-powered generator. It's a high amperage charging system, nothing fancy. I will have no problem recharging everything you have in that bunker. And to you, I say, you're correct. It is a high amperage system, but does it pass durability test? And in this case, I'm not necessarily talking about in storage. Will it work after being in storage? Really what I'm talking about is, do you have the fuel for a long-term power outage? I initially said 30 days, but what if it goes on for a year? Now, having ran gasoline-powered generators a lot with my trailer, something I learned is you go through gas. And if you put a heavier load on that generator, you're going to go through it quicker. A lot quicker. Storing up gasoline is fraught with all kinds of problems. Your insurance company won't like it. It will eventually go bad. Yes, I use Stable in mine. And by the way, that Stable stuff is good for way longer than it says. You can put Stable in fuel, and then 5 years later, 6 years later, you can put it in your generator, and that generator will fire right up. The issue is quantity. Can you store up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gallons of stabilized gasoline? The answer for most of us is an emphatic no. Diesel is better, kerosene is better, but still you have to have space, you have to have a place and a system that stores all that up. Is it viable? Technically, yes, especially diesel, but you need to have property and a place to store it. Now, if you're in a rural place, you have your own land, and you have like a 400-gallon thing of diesel, dude, that's what I'm talking about. That's a level of liquid fuel you would need for long term. And there are some TMPers, probably a lot, that have that. But what about you guys, you urbanites that don't have access to land and you want long-term ways to, well, charge this? Okay, well, here's my answer. You ready? Here's the crux of the video. Well, kind of the crux, more or less. Where'd that sucker go? Here it is right here. The answer is a solar-powered generator. Boom! Yeah, that's the secret sauce of this entire video, really. This is, what do they call this? The names will change on these. There's different brands. Generarc. This is, I think, a 1,500 watt system right here. Something like this. So it has USB capability, 3 AC plugs. Let me turn this on, by the way. You will have to turn on whatever thing you're going to use. So here I just turned the DC portion on. You can see I'm at 100%. And I have a charge tape on there. I recommend you do this too. I do maintain these. So every third month, I'll just top it off. And I have found that they stay in storage quite well. I mean, when I top it off, when I turn it on, it's still at like, heck, 98%, if not higher, like 99. It's almost I haven't lost much at all. So this is how you're going to recharge a lot of your devices. Now, is it as good as a gasoline or diesel-powered fuel generator? No, not even close. It doesn't have the amperage. They do have some 3,000 amperage models. I'll put links to below for that. Jackery sells those. They're going to be around, I think, $3,000. They're super expensive. But these are not lead acid batteries. I think they're LiFePO batteries, something like that. And they're super high tech, and they can last for hundreds and hundreds of charge and depletion cycles. I highly, highly recommend you have several of these and probably this exact size in your system. And it depends on how big your family is. But with this, think of your possibilities. Everything I've shown you that is LED powered, well, most things, will have a charging capability. You can charge them up right here, dude. And you may be confused. You're like, wait a second, that's just a big battery, but you called it a solar generator. The reason they call them solar generators is because these are paired with a solar panel. Okay, and it's too big to bring here in the bunker. I'll just show some images of it. And I have used these extensively in the project. Okay, so I'm in a place where I don't have access to 110, 120 volt. So I plug in the solar panel to either that one, and I have some Jackeries too, shown, by the way, in red skies in the back of the Titan. So this is not the first time I've introed this technology. I've charged them to full capacity, no problem. So the links I'm going to put down below will give you a generator and a fold-out, high durability, high quality solar panel made by the same company. It plugs right into that battery. And assuming you have full sunlight and not a cloudy day, I won't tell you exactly how long it takes to charge, but I will say in an afternoon you can go from 0% to 100%. So technically you have unlimited electricity. Unlimited electricity, boys and girls. Well, boys, I don't think I have any more girls watching, which is sad, by the way. I want some girls in the project, but I haven't heard from them for a long time. Had some leave in the donation environment, and I cried myself to sleep that night because I like having them around. Yeah, dude, so think about that. So you have close to unlimited power supply. Let me add this, for low drain types of devices. And I'm going to read you some stuff here, which is important, okay? So off of that unit that I just showed you, and again, this is a Generarc, or whatever the heck they're going to call it. What is this, a 1,500 watt system? I'll read the specs to you here in a second, but this is what you can expect. Blender for 2 to 5 days it can power. Pressure cooker 1 to 3 days. A coffee maker, 1 week. Microwave, 2 to 14 days. That's pretty impressive. Refrigerator, 4 to 10 days. Lamps, 1 to 7 days. Communication devices, 2 weeks. TV, 1 to 7 days. Fans, 1 to 3 days. Heated, what does that say? Heated blankets, 12 to 24 hours, which makes sense because that's a high kilowatt device. Heated blanket is basically converting electricity into heat. And by the way, I have used it for electric blankets in camping. So I've used this one. I've used my Jackery one multiple times. It doesn't really like that. It's a high drain thing. They're saying 12 to 24 hours. I would say more like, I use my electric blanket on high when it's super cold, probably like 8 hours, and then you're done. It just makes sense. I mean, it's just a battery. Home security system, 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, so that's what that can do. And I didn't even find data for how many times it could charge this, but it's going to be, I don't know, I'd say probably 80 times or something. You plug all your lights into it, plug it in, recharge them to capacity, you are totally good to go. The wattage on this, and I covered it, whatever. 2,000 watt surge power at 110 volts. 1,000 watt hour wattage is the rating on that one. These are not inexpensive. Okay, I'm not going to say that you can go get these for like $300. They're going to be more like with a solar panel, and this is all subject to change, but this is going to be like $1,750 for, I'm talking like two of these and probably 2 solar panels, half the cost if you just get one. I am recommending you get at least a couple, have them charged up and ready to go. And let me tell you, boys and girls, when you do this, when you get a high quality solar battery like this, it is going to give you a peace of mind that you've never seen before. And then your preparedness lighting system, your PLS, will no longer suck with this, because now you have a way to recreate rule of law lighting cheaply, long term. This is durable. Let's talk about durability just for this battery. So let's say I do maintain it. I charge it up like I recommend every so often. Maybe it's just once every 6 months. Will this still be viable 10 years down the road? Well, these are new technology. I have not personally tested that yet. Obviously, 10 years have not passed since I've had this unit, but having seen the performance of these units, which I've been doing and using in TMP for all kinds of things, by the way. I use them for sanding steel targets, so I'll put them in the back of the Wolverine, plug in my sander, I use them for that. Recharge it up, use them for charging batteries where there's no AC power, yes. My answer is probably yes. They still will be viable. Also, this technology is also going to improve. So the battery technology is going to improve. And maybe you're saying, well, I'll wait till it does. And that's completely viable. I totally understand that you could say, yeah, I'm just going to wait maybe 5 years until the battery technology is better. Or maybe the prices come down. That's 5 years. You don't have peace of mind, though. It's 5 years where your system has a huge hole in it. Unless you're just going to use candles, kerosene lanterns, I would say probably not. Get it now. Put it in your system. Is it expensive? Yes. But a lot of the stuff that we are using, or I should say putting into our preparedness systems, is expensive. That's just the way it is. You guys know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Okay, recommended. But now, look at what we have. With that, boom, good to go. Now, maybe you guys have this technology already that you have, and I'm using the term solar generator. Let's just call it a rechargeable battery system that in your system. If you do, your system does not suck. You're good to go. Let me tell you this too, by the way. I did buy, and I don't have it in the bunker. It's too freaking big. Probably like 8 years ago. Speaking of surpassing technologies, I bought this huge lithium ion battery that I thought would do all of those things. And you may have seen it like in some run and gun action out in the desert like 6 years ago. I brought it out and we were powering up a bunch of devices with it. It worked pretty good for that, but it hasn't proven to be very durable. So in charging it and then using it after a long period of time, it kind of sucks. And it was really expensive. It's super heavy. It's a wheeled battery system. I'm not even going to recommend that because I was so unhappy with it for the amount of money I paid for it. This is the type of technology I'm recommending. And my links below are the ones that I know are good. And you'll support the show with it. And we're almost done. Let's do a time check. Oh, dude, we are gold. A couple things I didn't show you, and I forgot about this one. So I talked about lanterns, hand-cranked lanterns. And so I showed you that one that failed. But another one that's actually pretty good, that does pass the durability test, was made by a company called FreePlay. The initial one went out of business. Bajan owned it, and it has been bought and sold like 3 times. So they are still around, and they do have some interesting lighting products. But just like this one, they're probably going to go bye-bye. This one is no longer made. This was actually produced for third world countries. This is a hand-cranked lighting system and charging system that you can charge a phone with. And unlike that other one, which was kind of hokey, and I think I bought that at Costco. Strike 2 for Costco, by the way. Actually, I've had a lot of things from Costco I bought that are absolute shit. This is how you wind this right here on the FreePlay. Notice the lever is longer, so you get leverage. So it's really not that bad to wind up, although you are expending TCE, time, calories, and energy when you do it. Another benefit to a solar-powered system. And then, this is not LED. That's the generator running that. So I've had this at least 10 years. And I have not maintained it. I try to, like, it has a charging port in the back that you can charge it up. There's your exterior port where it can actually charge some devices. So I just pulled this out yesterday, cleaned it off, dusted it off, charged it up, and here you go. It's totally working. Isn't that cool? And then it has a couple switches. It doesn't have max power now. It doesn't have enough juice. So I put the switch to max. It kind of dies. But if I go down to normal, a dim light, it's not super bright. The LED lights I've been showing you are way, way better. And here's your charge. So that's just using the hand-cranked generator to pump out electricity from this port. Cool, and it does provide the cables with you, or for it. That's gone, by the way. This is collectible, no longer produced. Maybe they have something like it. I may or may not put links below for that. Yeah, I would buy that all over again. I think that's obviously a great long-term lighting product. Remember, you want your preparedness lighting system, your PLS to be long-term capable, durable, that year after year you can rely upon it to provide you lighting when, not if, things go south and the electrical grid goes down. You want to make your life as normal as possible. Now we're focusing on lighting. You want it to be normal. You want to have the same levels of lighting that you almost normally would have. And I say almost because I don't think you're ever going to recreate it. You just don't have the kilowatt capability. But it would be nice going into a room powered by this and just being happy. Your family will thank you for it. They'll be super happy. You won't have to live in darkness. And once again, this is an 18650 powered system. If you don't want to charge it up with solar, you could use your solar battery. Again, this is just a power input right there. And I use like an AC adapter to charge these up all the time. Or you could take the 18650s out and put it in the night core charger, which will run off your solar generator. Hope I'm not saying too much jargon. Now you're in business. Now you have a level of lighting that makes people comfortable, that restores a sense of hope, because light is hope, and just happiness within the family, right? You want it to be durable. And don't confuse EDC lighting with long-term survival lighting. That's what we're talking about. Go look at your system, take an honest assessment of where you are. Chances are, like me, you thought you were more prepared than you were. For instance, maybe you have these rechargeable LED lights right here, and you go, these things are the bomb, dude. Well, this one's from Walmart. It's a Hyper Tough, and I use these for work lights. They are pretty excellent, but I'll tell you what, if you leave these for like 3 to 4 months, 6 months, you come back, they have almost no charge in them. They need to be maintained all the time. And again, I put some colored electrical tape, and I'll mark when I charge it up. But I don't really have these for survival lighting. They're mostly for TMP shoots, TMP stuff, and then projects that I'm doing as well. But again, with a solar charger like that, I could charge this right up, no problem. And it could become part of my preparedness lighting system. And there you go, boys. Another preparedness philosophy video brought to you by Kellogg's Cornflakes. Or whoever. Okay, not Cornflakes. Rice Krispies, I guess. I'm just kidding. I don't even know those people. Nobody sponsors me but you. Consider being a long-term donor. Donors, please check your payment method. I lose like a lot of donors every month, and it makes me extremely sad, and I find it demotivating. Before I leave you, let me show you this super cool F16. This is a Hobby Master. What paint job is this, boys and girls? I'm sorry, just boys. That's right. This is a Nellis Aggressor F16. Is this a Navy one? No, it's Air Force. Yeah, so it's painted up to mimic like a Sukhoi Su-35 or something like that. I wish they painted our F-16s that color anyhow. The watch for the review is an Armorlight Field Watch, tritium powered. I'll have a link to that below if I can find it. Then I have a Series 8 on this wrist. I know I'm a dork. I don't care. It's functional. And we are done. Let's check the time real quick. We are golden. Golden. Less than 55 minutes, I suspect, if my math is correct. Check your preparedness lighting system. Fill the holes. All the technology I've shown you has been proven by me. I think it works. The old school stuff way works. It just doesn't put out that much light. Okay? And you'll have to kind of put up with that. See you next video. Got a lot more to come. The best days of TMP are yet to come. Bye-bye. Oh my goodness. Oh, I totally forgot to talk about something really important in this preparedness lighting systems video. I guess the video ain't over yet. Please remain seated in your theater seats because I forgot to discuss, very important by the way, standalone solar panels for recharging your lighting devices. There you go. A very viable way to keep these devices running and charged up. So these are just standalone solar panels. You can get a wide variety of them. This one's really cool because it's flexible, thin. It's really designed to go into a windshield. I use it to maintain the battery in the Astrovan. It is fantastic. I've actually charged up that solar generator with this, albeit it took a long time. The bigger the panel, the more effective it is because it will put out more amps and charge up more things, or watts, I should say. Yeah, so solar panels, of course. And you can charge up whatever battery you have on hand. Motorcycle battery, automotive battery that you've pirated out of your vehicle. Maybe you have some deep cycle marine batteries, which I do recommend. Optima batteries, all types. And you can just have panels in your system. And by the way, I have been using this for a long time. I'm talking about solar battery charging in different forms. Let me just show you a couple. I'll try to go quickly. Here's just a couple. There's one. This is a backpacking solar panel with an output, USB output. Here's a Goal Zero Elite. Again, this is meant for backpacking, recharging a phone primarily. I've had this one in my system for like 10 years. Goal Zero is a great company. They do a lot of great things, and their panels are fantastic. They are kind of expensive. Here's another fold-up panel system I have. Yeah, solar panels. They're generally easy to store. They're durable. This one's fantastic. I'll put some links below to my favorite solar panels. You might have TMPers in the project that have solar farms. I'm talking like they have an array of solar panels either on their roof or in their backyard, tied into a battery system, a battery bank. That's beyond the scope of this video, but I do want to remind you this might be a cheaper way to keep your devices charged up. Okay, so this isn't going to be no $1,700, and you have batteries already. You can get this from Harbor Freight. This one is just meant for maintaining basically your battery in your vehicle when it's been parked for a long time. This is what I use on my motorcycle, so this keeps my motorcycle batteries good to go. I find that these ones are lower quality. They'll last about 2 years and then they're kaput. Their output just really drops. But they're relatively inexpensive. You can see this one's coming out of storage, meant for preparedness here in the project. There you go. Solar panels, of course. Duh, I can't believe I forgot it. Have them on hand. Inexpensive way to charge up your batteries. But I still am mostly enthusiastic about that system. So the solar generator with its own, much larger, specifically paired up to its solar panel. I do still highly, highly recommend this in your system. Nothing fancy. Thanks for staying in the theater. Now you can leave. Bye.